Hey everyone, so I'm finally getting around to the review of the Real Technique brushes by Samantha Chapman of course, YouTube's Pixie Boo. So I'm going to start off with one of the collections, and this is the core collection. So it looks like this. It comes with this really neat case. It, closes like this, so it's like a wee book. You open it up and you can turn it into a wee stand. So it has a pulley rope here, which you can tighten to keep the stand in place, and it literally just sits on top of your desk like this. So it is handy to have. Now, taking them out, obviously you just kind of have to put one hand to steady it to pull it out, because they're kept in quite tight, which is a good thing. And then you have space here to pop in other brushes you might be using as well. So it is a handy wee case for the desktop, and I suppose for travel as well. So this brush set comes with 4 brushes. It comes with this pointed foundation brush, this contour brush, this is like a wee detailer brush, and then a buffing brush. Now I do use this quite a lot. This particular brush here, the contour brush, has quickly become one of my favourite brushes ever. So I'll start with this one here. First of all, the price in Ireland is €30, and in the UK it's £18 or £19, I think. So they're kind of, that's about right. And then in America I think it's around $18. So in Boots in Ireland and England at the moment, or Ireland and the UK, they're on 3 for 2. Most of the brushes I think are, so that's really good, and I wanted to get this out soon so that people could hopefully avail of that offer. Hopefully it's still going by the time this is up. So I'll start off with this pointed foundation brush. It's very small for a foundation brush, I'll say that first of all, but it is a nice brush. I wouldn't use it for a full foundation face. You just would be a wee bit too long trying to blend everything in. What I love it for is when I don't want too much foundation on during the day and I only want to cover the certain areas that need it, which, unless you have bad skin, most people will get away with for the daytime, and that's what I tend to encourage people to do. So it is good for that, and I also like using it for a concealer, because it's just small enough to get the eye area and around the nose, and any of those kind of wee nooks and crannies. So it is a really nice brush, and of course, as with all of the rest of the brushes, it's made with synthetic Teflon hairs, so it's not going to absorb too much product or too much of the hairs. Now the only thing is, it is a little bit tough getting them back in there, but again, it's not really much of a minus. Then my favourite brush of this collection, this is the contour brush. So I use this for highlighting and for contouring, but I also love it, maybe it's just the shape of my face or the size of my face, but I love this for applying blusher. I tend to prefer slightly smaller brushes to bigger brushes if I had to choose between the two, and I just really love this. Also, I've used it for applying foundation, because like I said, it is synthetic hair. It doesn't absorb the product like a lot of normal blush brushes would do, so it's really nice for buffing in. And of course, if you want to do that fuller face of foundation, this is really good for it because it's the slightly bigger brush, so I really do like that one. Next is this detail brush. So this one is good for spot concealing. I wouldn't use it for like putting any concealer on the eye or anything like that. It's just too small for that. Really just for spot concealing. Great for doing lipstick. I used it to perfect the outline of my lips today. And it's also good if you want to do detail work. So if you're doing something slightly more artistic, especially using like liquid eyeliner or like face paints or anything like that, this is perfect. And then finally is this buffing brush. Now this kind of brush I use mainly for buffing in like mineral foundation, powder foundation, or buffing on setting powder. Of course, use it for foundation as well. It's very like, say, some of those Sigma like flat top kabuki brushes. Really all round a great brush. So it's a nice size as well. This is about as big as I like my foundation brushes to go. So this is another one that I would highly recommend. So like, as far as the whole core collection goes, it's a really nice collection. And then 4 brushes plus the stand for €30. Here in Ireland, I think that's fantastic for the quality of brushes you get, so I would definitely recommend that brush set. Now my other brush set that I have, which comes exactly in the same kind of case, so you can flip it backwards like this to stand up. This is the starter set. Now there were 3 brush sets, and out of all 3 of them, these 2 appeal to me the most. So I don't have the third one, which I think is, I can't remember the name of it, but it only comes with 3 brushes in it. So this one comes with your crease brush, your lay down brush, like your eyeshadow brush. It comes with like a wee detailer brush as well. This one is like an eyeliner brush, and this is your eyebrow brush. Now there's things about this set that I love. It's the same price as the other set, so €30 here in Ireland, roughly 19 I think in the UK and $18 I think in America. This is a really nice crease brush, particularly for anyone with bigger eye space. Anyone who has small eyes and doesn't have much space to play around over their eyes, it'll probably be a little bit too big for that, but you could use that then definitely for blending out eyeshadow. So it's a really nice one. You can use the sides of the brush for blending, and you can use the tip, the dome, for applying colour, especially into the crease. So it's a really nice brush for that. These ones are purple. I actually really like the colours of these brushes. The ones from the core collection are gold, and the ones from this starter set are purple, which is a really nice colour. Kind of matches my eyes actually. So the next brush from the set is the Space eyeshadow brush. Now to me, first off, it actually looks more like a blending brush, but it works really well as a lay down brush as well. It's very similar to MAC's 217 lay down brush, or blending brush rather, but it works well as both, as does the other one. It's a little bit more tightly packed probably than the MAC one, and of course the main difference being that this is synthetic hair, so it is really good obviously for laying down colour like it says on the tin, but also it's a nice wee blender as well, and it's really good for getting in there into the crease, especially if you have slightly smaller eye space, because it's a little bit more tapered, so you can get it a little bit more precise in there. Really nice all-rounder. I actually really love this for using as a concealer brush around the eye area, and even around the nose or around the face for any small areas, because like I said, it is synthetic. So that's another really lovely one. Then this guy is called the Accent brush. I love these kind of brushes. It's very like my NYX Smudge brush, or like a smaller version of the MAC 228, which I also love. Great for getting colour underneath the eye when you want to get really close up into the lashes. Anywhere where you want to just put a little dot of colour where you don't want to spread it too far across the area. Really lovely brush to have. Again, great for spot concealing, and you could also use it for the lips. And then the fourth brush in this kit is the Pixel Point eyeliner brush. Now this brush is probably my least favourite of the 5 of this kit. It's an eyeliner brush, but it's not tapered enough for my liking as far as eyeliner brushes go. It's not a bad brush, but it's just, you can't get a really thin line with it, which I prefer. I prefer to build up eyeliner so I have more control over the thickness of it. This one, you're just going to have a thick enough line really, first of all, without having too much control over it. But if you want that thicker line, it's fine for that. I'd probably use this for lips more so, because I like these kind of shape brushes for lips, believe it or not. I think they work really well for the outline. But like I said, it's an okay brush. It's a nice one to have. It's kind of unique, as in I don't have any other one like this, because it is so fat compared to any other eyeliner brush I have of this kind of calibre. I suppose I just need to use it a bit more because I haven't used it enough. And then the final brush is this angled eyebrow brush. Really nice for applying colour to the brows. My only negative opinion on this is that it's a little bit thick, you know, as in sideways. I'd like it to be a bit thinner so I can taper it a little bit more for my particular eyebrow shape, but for anyone with a fuller eyebrow, it's absolutely perfect if you don't have to worry about really getting a nice fine end, and it's possibly even better when it is that thick for brushing through the eyebrow hairs. So it really is just down to personal preference, and down to what kind of eyebrow you have, I suppose. And also I really like it for applying, you know, smudging out eyeliner over the top of the lids, applying eyeshadow as well underneath the lid, or the lower lid, when you want to keep it up really close to the hairs. So it is a nice one to have. So that's the second and 2 of 2 of the sets that I have. Now the only other 2 brushes I have were, first, the stippling brush. So this comes alone in its own kit. What I like about the ones that come by themselves is that they stand, they come, I'm not going to be able to make this stand on my hand, but anyhow, they come with a flat base that's wider at the bottom, so it stands on your desk perfectly. And this one is definitely one of my favourite brushes for applying foundation, particularly foundation that needs a little bit more, something that's a little bit thicker or a little bit creamier, that you need to really blend in and spend a little bit longer blending and have a little bit more strength behind it to really get it into the skin. So this is a lovely one. I think this could have been about €15. maybe 14, 13, around that. I can't really remember too well. I'll tell you how much it costs. In America it's a £10 or $10 anyhow. I'm not too sure how much in pounds it is in the UK, but it's a lovely brush and it's one that I use quite a lot. So another thing I love this for is if I roughly apply my cream blusher after my foundation, just along here or wherever I need it, I'll use this to buff it in and to really like just make it disappear so that it just looks like a shadow rather than I've got a heap of brown on my face. So that's another good thing for that. And then the last brush I have is this, which is the blush brush. And this, again, it sits like this on the table. I think maybe roughly the same price, I can't really remember. The price of this in the US is $9. And this, it's a lovely brush. It's quite a big brush for the cheek. Some people will love this slightly big brush. I love this kind of size for applying powder. So that's pretty much what I use this for, is powder application. Now you can buy a powder brush which is very similar to this. It's practically the same but it's bigger. I just tend not to use those bigger brushes on the face. I would use them more for body, for applying like bronzer or maybe a bit of highlight to the body and to the collarbones and stuff like that. As far as face brushes go, this is probably the biggest one that I use. So I do tend to use this as my powder brush. But you can use it for blusher brush of course as well, and because it's not so densely packed, it'll actually apply it really nicely. It's not going to pack on too much colour too quickly. A really nice brush to have. So